retired FBI supervisory special agent Lance Lessing. Lance, thank you so much for being here today. You know, as we're thinking about this, I want to start with this note. It is not the same IP address, but it is the same type of server. But what's curious to me, Lance, is the fact that the only sort of correlation we have to the first note is that they're proving they're the same person. Where's the proof of life? If you want your ransom, that's what this is about. It seems like you'd provide that.
Right. If the motive is financial gain, which from all indications from the note, it appears that way, not an ideological statement, but financial gain, an open line of communication is the way to get that. It's an indicative of potentially a fraudulent note. It's interesting that they're committed to sending a second one if it's the same person, because they're confident they're not going to be found. They're confident they're using anonymizers and changing their IP address and running it through a bunch of different countries potentially to avoid being tracked, but they're not offering anything that would authenticate they are the kidnappers.
Yeah, Lance, I want you to take a listen. This is a local KOLD reporter. They received the note. We know that initial ransom note went to 3 outlets, and one of those 3 obtained this second letter. Here's the description we have of it.
I would say that this second one, it has a very, very similar, the way that it was put together was very similar. I will say that I don't think that they will classify this second one as a ransom note. There were deadlines in the first letter. The second one, there are no deadlines. You know, in my head, a ransom note is looking for something in return for something else, and this one is not necessarily that.
So what does a family member do? You have the second note. I'm looking, I mean, look, we are less than 48 hours away from the second deadline. What do you possibly do with the information you have?
You know, as a family member, and like you've seen in the statements they've already released, they're begging for an open line of communication. They're begging to negotiate and to talk and to get some proof of life that their loved one is still alive. I mean, as a family member, that's what you do. As an investigator, it's getting very complex. You've got this ransom note that is obviously attracting a lot of attention and a focus of your investigation. But you've increased the reward. You're getting thousands upon thousands of tips. You've had fraudulent ransom notes already submitted to you. Mm-hmm. It's getting complex. That's why this task force nature and a very organized structure to this investigation is crucial. They need a break. They need something to focus it, and rather than casting that wide net, they need to focus in some way. Maybe this ransom note will do that, but it's not indicating it will.
You have this parallel activity that's going on. And, you know, I was on the 5 last night as this was breaking, and you hear the second note, and it gives you hope, and you think, okay, great, maybe Nancy's there, maybe they can get her back. And then all of a sudden, they clear the street in front of Nancy's home, and there's police activity, and it's parallel activity, a note and then a search. What do you make of this? And then a wired device outside the side of the house. This is a third search of the home. I mean, it seems odd it happens at the same time of the letter unless they're connected.
It is odd. That could be circumstantial or it could be connected. It's not unheard of to go back to the scene of a search and research, but doing it 3 times, either something's evolving in the case, they're getting different tips and specific information in that note that leads them to certain areas of the house, or they're missing things. I don't believe they're missing things. I think it's an evolving case. They're getting all these different tips in. This additional search could be connected to the ransom note or another tip that we don't even know about. And going back and covering your bases is smart. So, I mean, if you need to go back to that house, you go back to that house as an investigator. You don't avoid it. That's where the crime took place. That's where your evidence is going to be.
And they took the car. They could have taken the car any of the 3 times. They took it the 3rd time. So it does seem that there's some evolution here. And when you pair that with the president's statements, who's in constant contact with the FBI, I want to play something that got a little attention, but I think it deserves a lot of attention. Listen to Sheriff Nanos. We know the camera on the outside of the house was fully removed. We know there are cameras on the inside of the house that were not removed. Here's what he shared.
There's multiple.
There were multiple cameras.
One on the front, and that's the one that's missing?
It is the one at the front door area.
Are the other cameras missing?
Not to our knowledge. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know of any other camera missing.
Got it. So could it have been those other cameras that said person detected?
Again, I don't know that, but I'm thinking that's possible, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because if it's...
Because nobody's saying it's this camera. We don't know that.
Lance, here's my question. So you go into the inside of the house. You are intent on kidnapping someone. You've destroyed a camera on the outside of the house. Why wouldn't you destroy the ones on the interior unless you had intimate knowledge they were not a threat to you, they were not capturing you? It leads me to believe it's someone who might have been familiar with the home.
Now, destroying interior cameras nowadays, it's oftentimes ineffective. Most of the storage of the actual video surveillance isn't in that camera itself. It's in a server or in the cloud or offsite. So actually destroying the camera might stop additional surveillance coverage of yourself in the house, but it's not going to delete the previously captured surveillance images. So that's one thing. I do think, though, we had a 45-minute timeline where the suspect could have been in the house. A person was detected, and then ultimately Nancy's pacemaker was disconnected. That's a long time to be in a house.
Yeah.
And then you have the blood stains out front, which they're not insignificant. It's not 1 or 2 drops. It's a decent amount of blood. Mm-hmm. Something happened in that house outside their plans. I highly doubt that was their plan to hurt her or harm her inside that house. They really wanted to hold her for this extended period of time. They don't want her injured.
Yeah, well,
so something went wrong in that house.
We hope she's not injured. Our prayers are with this family. It is just unimaginable. Lance, thank you so much for your expertise.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.